So that brings us to sprites. I do have a sprite manager, which... Oh no, I actually don't have a sprite manager itself, I just have a sprite font. Okay, I lied, sorry. Okay, I don't have a proper sprite manager. I didn't realize that was a requirement until I was just going through here. Whoops. Okay, so these guys you actually all create currently on their own. Just they have the sprite associated with them, and a function to calculate the world matrix, yada yada, and a bunch of values. So when you create an Auto sprite, you get the image, you create a new graphics object by getting the model manager for the sprite model that you want, and the shader manager for the shader, which is the sprite render shader specifically, and the images that's implied with it. Render, does the normal render, then a whole bunch of math for setting scale factor, setting center, set position, and this just calculate world matrix is where it actually will do the math to the world matrix. I only calculate the world matrix anytime you actually change its values, so if you never actually touch them, the render is nice and quick. So again, these guys are not pulled. I didn't reuse them. I'm not really entirely sure how it... I'm not really sure of a good way to do this. So, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't do this. Okay, so only thing that's particularly interesting about this guy is this is where drawable 2D comes involved. So go to player, draw 2D is where we now render under the current. When you render 2D is where you'll actually render the current layer. Drawing layer 1. So for this one I have my sprite strings that I'm using, which is a little weird, but it will still do the trick of what I need to show. Because I'm actually holding a series of glyph lists, which I'll explain how I get these a little bit. But I go through each one, create a list of them, and go through each one, reset their position, render them, and push them on. So this is how I get my letters that you'll see in the top left. You see the player lives, player score, 0, 2, and 1. Oh, if I get my hands on the keys. Those are both the sprite strings, which are using a series of glyphs on them. So these are the ones I have currently on the screen are actually owned by the sprite font, who I'll go into later. It's this guy. That's just an example of them being used. I don't have one on the screen, unfortunately. Yeah, this will be more interesting in the next video.